Welcome back. We're now on the political segment of the weekend show. My name is Aisha B. Currently, Nigeria ranks at the bottom barrel of women in the parliament. We are literally having 4 out of 369 members only here in Nigeria. Nigeria has so much to offer in Afrobeats, culture, and so much more. So why not in the political space? Why are women being held back and being put on the sidelines when it comes to leadership, when we are meant to be part of the entire lawmaking? This morning we're going to be discussing that, where we have a bill that will support reserved seats for women. Joining us on this segment
We have Abi Elezianya, founder of I Teach Africa Initiative. Good morning, welcome to the show. And we are excited to have our very own Osazu Ibinedio Oguche, CEO of TOS Group and founder of The Weekend Show. Welcome.
Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning, ladies. So good to see you both.
Yes, so happy.
Good to be here.
All right, thank you. So what is your opinion in general about the performance and involvement of Nigerian women in politics compared to the rest of the world?
It's truly heartbreaking. I said that in an op-ed that I issued with 8 other celebrity co-sponsors, such as Banky W, Adesa Wellington, Inedima Okoji, and a host of many others. Unfortunately, as Aisha had mentioned in her opening remarks, Nigeria ranks 125th out of 146 in the Global Gender Parity Index, meaning that we are at the bottom barrel. We rank worse than countries like Iraq. So this needs to change. We only have about 3.8% of women in parliament, in the federal legislature, that's the Senate, and in the House of Representatives. That's specifically 18 out of 469 seats are filled up by women. So we need to change that. When women lead, communities thrive, societies blossom. And this is the importance of having women in parliament and in decision-making tables. And when we look specifically at the reserved seats for women bill, which was sponsored by the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Right Honorable Benjamin Kalu, we look at the culture, we look at the society that can be impacted by women in leadership. Statistics show that when women get involved in leadership, they pay more attention to healthcare, they pay more attention to education, they pay more attention into molding social amenities that will benefit the poorest of the poor in our society. This is why we're advocating for the passage of the reserved seats for women's bill.
Beautiful facts, Chief. Honestly, you're always ready to stand up for what is right, and I'm so happy that we're able to support this campaign here at the Weekend Show. So over to you, Abby. As we've all known, this is something that has been mentioned before in the past for Nigerian women to be given opportunities in the parliament. So what do you feel about this campaign that can bring a change to this particular, process?
When I saw it, I was extremely excited because it's a start. It's not the destination, it's a start. We have a lot of work to do. I looked at it in terms of 4 cycles of election. The bill is proposing that we have 16 years to try it out. But that's a start, because when that begins, there's going to be some form of equity, some form of balance, but it's not still enough. In the words of my mother, if you educate a woman, you educate the nation.
Yeah.
So the fact that we're actually even looking at the population of women, which is almost half the population of men in Nigeria, and we're having that number of women not showing their strength, showing their power, wisdom that the woman carries in the House of Reps or in the Senate or even in the states, is very appalling. I'm very excited, and I'm excited that the sponsors looked at this and are willing to try, because we've seen what is happening in Pakistan, we've seen what is happening in India, the cases that are already succeeding in Rwanda, Uganda, even Kenya. Women now have better voices. You can see what is happening in the society because the women were allowed to come in.
Yes.
Nigeria really needs to do better. We call ourselves the giant of Africa, but really, are we the giant of Africa in not allowing women to sit up and then come in positions where they are much needed?
Even now, in the past year, we've seen women become presidents in different African countries.
I'm telling you that, yes.
Why are we able to be left out?
Would there ever be a time where a woman will become president in Nigeria?
I mean, as we
This
started
bill,
today,
this
It's
bill,
a starting point.
this bill is a starting point. It's not all we're asking for, because after this bill is set, I'm sure we'll be asking for more. because this bill is what is going to begin the change.
Okay, so we're talking about the reserved seats for women's
Right.
bill. So it's mostly about women that are already actively participating in politics. But my question now is, for the common woman on the street, a member of the masses, how can she play an active role in politics besides casting votes during the elections? How can she be participating in the at least in her community level? Where is her starting point?
So the technicality of the bill, as proposed in the House of Representatives, because as you know, we have a bicameral legislature, the Senate and the House of Representatives, which have to simultaneously screen the bill. So as proposed in the House of Representatives, the bill is looking to add 1 additional seat per state in both the Senate, which is not too much, right? Both in the Senate and in the House of Representatives. So that would be 36 states and the FCT, additional seats in the Senate, and 37 additional seats in the House of Representatives, making a total of 74 additional seats in the National Assembly.
That's a good one.
Then for the state assemblies, there will be 3 additional seats per state in each state, representing the 3 senatorial zones. And the constituencies for the federal seats will be state constituencies, that's the entire states. So this is reserved for women only to contest. It doesn't mean established politicians. It doesn't mean, you know, people former ministers. It's every woman who has an appetite for politics that meet the requirements for contesting. So in the House of Representatives, you have to be a minimum of 25 years old. In the Senate, you have to be a minimum of 35 years old to contest. So the same stipulations that apply to the other senators and the House of Representative members apply to these reserved seats as well. So for people who don't want to get involved in politics and don't want to run for office, you can be advocates, you can be ambassadors. We all know that women line up in troops, in masses to vote on election day.
Yes.
Women actually shape the outcome of these
Yeah, that's
elections. So at the end of the day, they can decide that, okay, I might not want to put myself forward, but I want to be able to support other women who are. And this is what this bill seeks to do, reserve seats for women only to contest these 74 additional seats and 3 per state.
Beautifully said. I've watched so many news programs where I see both the First Lady and President Tinubu in support of having special seats reserved for women. So I want to ask now to any of you, what do you think is really the fear of our leaders as to enabling this bill and having women in the parliament? What do you think is holding them back? They know these statistics. They know what women can offer, what we bring to the table. So what is that fear, and how can this bill suppress that,
I would say culture. I would say culture, because the culture has always been the definition of what the role of a woman should be.
That patriarchy.
However, they forget that after the First World War, the role of a woman changed. We stopped being the women in the house, taking care of the children. Women had to go to work because the men had gone to war. If women had to go to work, that means that all sectors, not just certain sectors, the political space is also for the women. If we make decision making, in fact, the economy is being driven by women. So I guess the fear is that they think we will thrive more than the men. But then again, this is not even about competition. It's about equity. It's about justice. It's about seeing that there's a fair playing ground for women. If you look at the society, when it's time for the meetings, when it's time for the elections, when it's time for anything political, it's not done in the daytime. There's security problems we have to consider. There are structural issues in parties we have to consider. These are things that affect women daily. But if a woman is still saying, regardless of all the hiccups that we're seeing in the political arena, we still want to come in, why then try to shut us down? This bill, I repeat again, is the bill that is going to start, it's going to spearhead certain things in the country, because you'll be amazed to see the women, the caliber of women that Nigeria has. You know, sometimes because of how the society has grouped women, I was watching an interview yesterday and I was very excited with what the woman did. A man called in and said, the role of the woman is to take care of the children. And she just said, I totally disagree. And then she cut the phone off. Simple. Because the role of women has changed. It's over the years. And you can clearly see the drivers in the Nigerian economy, I dare to say it's over 70% women
currently, right?
Yes,
Especially
yes.
in certain states.
Look at the entrepreneurs. Look at education sector. It's being run by women. If we talk about balance and equity and justice, the federal character was created to balance this out. That's what's going to happen in the political field. This reserve seat bill is like the federal character bill. Balance the things out. Let's even see the strengths that the women have. We are not hearing the voices of the women, neither the impact of what women can do because of the less number that they are either in the House of Reps or in the Senate or even in the State House of Assembly.
Thank you so much.
Happy to take a look at it.
Now, okay, we haven't even raised our
Oh,
placards
yes,
up.
please. We brought one for
Support
one each.
I,
For you
Tanya
ladies.
Chemelu, and I should be, we
Support
support
reserved
reserve
seats
seats
for
for
women.
women bill.
Yay.
Yes. So finally, Osasu, before we let you go, we'd like you to give words of encouragement to women. Thank God we mentioned cultural limitations. Women who think that politics is a man's playing
That's right.
field. So I would like you to encourage them to actively participate
Not be
in the
afraid.
politics. Because it is said, if you don't play politics, politics will play you.
That's right.
So I would like you to encourage them to actively participate besides just casting votes during the election. So what's your final words for them?
So with politics, just like business, just like any other sector that you delve into, you have to have an appetite for it. I don't encourage everybody to participate in politics because there's a lot that you have to sacrifice. Same with every other career. So if you do have an appetite for politics, for the young women out there watching, for the girls who are aspiring, do not be afraid. There is a seat at the table for you. Be bold, be audacious, learn, and learn even more. Come prepared to the table and fight for what is yours. Statistics show us that when women lead, communities thrive. So therefore, you have a critical role to play in not just nation development, but in the development of your communities, and to also ensure that you're creating a conducive environment for your children also to be able to thrive in all that they do.
Thank
I
you
feel like
so
giving you a
much.
round of applause.
As always, thank you so much for coming on the Weekend
Thank you,
Show.
ladies.
For sharing this campaign with us that we have now launched on the Weekend Show on
Yes.
AIT.
I'm happy it's an all-women set.
It is. You know, around the world, we have women that are thriving. Around the world, they're doing things that matter and change the narratives and storytelling. So here we are on the Weekend Show, myself and Tender. We are now launching this campaign which supports Reserve Seats for Women Bill.
Yes, we support, I Tender Chemelu and Aisha, we support the Reserve Seats for Women bill in Nigeria, in Africa, and across the world. So it's a good place to wrap it up, Aisha.
It is. All right, thank you for staying with us on the Weekend Show. Of course, you can follow us at Weekend Show NG and also on X and Instagram. And of course, we have our very, very amazing YouTube channel with live episodes. Thank you so much, Chief Osasu Binidian,
Thank
and
you.
also Madam Ebby for coming on the Weekend Show this morning. We support you, and we are in full confidence that this bill will change our storyline.
That's right.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you
Thank
both for
you.
having
Thank
us.
you
Super
so,
proud
so
of you,
much.
ladies.
Thank you so much.
All right, that's it on the Weekend Show.
Yes, now
Thank you,
during
Tender.
the week,